Okay, welcome guys. So today we are working on our first PWM circuit. Pretty fun. So on the breadboard here, all we have is an LED going through a current limiting resistor. And the long leg of the LED is connected to GPIO 16, which is also a PWM pin, which they all are. All the GPIO pins are PWM pins. So that's all connected, all ready to roll. Let's take a look at the code real quick. So we're importing from machine PWM and pin methods, and outPin is 16. That's just a variable we're declaring. And then we have our PWM object here that we're calling analogOut. We're setting the frequency at 1,000 and duty cycle we're setting at 0 for starters. So it's off basically. Now I did something here that Paul, the teacher of the class I'm taking, is not going to love because I made a little reusable, not a function, but just a formula for mapping. And all I have to do is put in the minimum and the max in and the minimum and the max out. And this formula will convert it for me so that I don't have to, this is from an earlier homework, I don't have to do this math every time. I understand how this works and I don't want to do it anymore. So I'm going to have the computer do it instead. So yeah, I have this set up. So the min and max is going to be from 0 to 3.3. That's voltage. That's what the user is going to enter. And then the output is going to be mapped between 0 and 65,535, which is, if you look at this unsigned integer here, that's the maximum 16-bit unsigned integer is 65,535. So at 3.3, we'll be outputting 65,535, which is always on. So yeah, let's get into this loop. While true, infinite loop, myVoltage, and we're just going to input the voltage from the user on this line. The next line is the formula I was talking about, which replaces all of this mumbo jumbo here. So we have that stored in pwmVal, which uses myVoltage right here. That's the only place that myVoltage shows up. Everything else was declared here in these, I guess these are global variables. And so, yeah, now all we have to do is write it out. analogOut and duty underscore U16. That is the duty cycle. And we're just going to set that to the integer value of this whole formula right here. So let's go ahead and run this thing. Okay, and it's asking what voltage we want. Let's go 3.3. That's the max voltage. Oh, I hit shift. Okay, there we go. And it is on. It's kind of hard to show you all the brightness of it with this. But yeah, it's fully bright. And now let's go to half, we'll go to half of that, 1.65. And you should have been able to see it get dimmer. Let's do 0.1 now. Really dim. And I've noticed, I don't know if it's going to come through or not, 0.01 volts, which is not going to be much of a duty cycle at all. It's on. You can barely see it, but it is definitely on. 0.001 volts. Let's see what that does. Even dimmer, but I think y'all can tell it is actually still on. Let's go one more digit. Yeah, it's still barely on somehow. I don't know if I can I make it go off? No, it looks like I must be at the very lowest duty cycle there. I think I am. So yeah, fun little project. We know how to use PWM now. I'll see you on the next one.